into the chat. If you can hear me, type in a yes into the chat so I know that we are all together. Okay, fantastic. Somebody's giving me a thumbs up. That's absolutely phenomenal. All right. Now, before we dive into our session today, we have an amazing time. We did some analysis and I would like to share the results with you. Okay. I would like to know where you are joining us from. All right. So type into the chat if you are joining from Lagos, Nigeria, from London in the UK, from Edmonton in Canada. Type your location into the chat. Where are you joining us from? Okay, where are you joining us from? Okay, NGB from UK, Calgary, Ghana, UK. Fantastic. Brilliant. Dublin. Enoch joining us from Dublin. And this is the amazing part of having, a virtual session like this. You get to interact with so many people from across the globe, interacting on the same call and having an amazing time together. Hawa is joining us from Manchester in the UK. Now let's dive into the main meat of our session for today. All right. I want our session to be as interactive. We'll have a 1.5 hour session. All right. The first 1 hour, I'll walk you through all the things, the results of our findings after analyzing jobs on LinkedIn for data analyst roles and for financial analyst roles. Afterwards, I'll then get to take your questions and answers as we move on. Okay, so let's dive into the main meat of our session. If you have somebody you know can benefit from today's session, share the message with them. Send the link to a friend, to a brother, a colleague, and let them get to be a part of the amazing session we are about to have today. All right, so I'll share my slide, do a little bit of introduction, and then we dive into the reason why we are here. Our topic today is on LinkedIn jobs, okay? What we do at Analytics is to ensure that when we take decisions, we take those decisions from a data-driven perspective. So we got data from LinkedIn, over 1,000 jobs for the data analyst role, the financial analyst role, to find out what are those key factors that determines if you eventually get a job as a data analyst or as a financial analyst, most especially in the major economies across the UK, the US, Canada, and of course, across Europe as well. And I'll be sharing some of my findings with you and showing you what exactly you need to do to get into the tech ecosystem as a data analyst or financial analyst, because this is where people have a lot of challenges. They don't know what to learn first. What do I start with and what do I move on to? And our session will cut across 3 major areas. The first part would be sharing the findings with you. The second would be understanding clearly the technical and the employability skills that you need to have to get a job. The technical is never enough. You are the best person using a particular tool would never get to the job. So how do you find that balance between the technical and employability skill? I'll share that with you as well. And then I'll introduce you to our upcoming cohorts that will start on the 8th of June, 2024. Now, who are we at Analytics? Right? For us at Analytics, we are an educational technology company leading the frontier of getting Africans in Africa, Africans in the diaspora into the tech ecosystem. And we lower the barrier to entry into the tech ecosystem by providing you with the best-in-class training services across different areas from data analytics to data science, business analysis, and so on and so forth. All right. Now, over the last 4 years, we've been able to help over 2,000 people to get into the tech ecosystem, transitioning from the classroom to getting their first jobs in tech. And I'll show you what has made us so successful. Why have our participants been so successful in being able to land jobs? I'll share that with you in the next few minutes. And for me, for those of you meeting me for the first time, my name is Adeza Suleiman. I'm a technology expert with a decade years of experience in data analytics and management consulting. Just like so many of you, my first degree was in industrial chemistry. I didn't study anything related to tech, studied nothing related to computer, but then I transitioned into data analytics along the course of my career. Founded Analytics and helped over 2,000 people do the same thing that I did during my decade, as a data analyst. And my experience spans across the UK, the US, as a data science consultant. I've also worked as a data analyst in the business performance department with Sahara Group, one of the largest energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa. Worked as a data analyst consultant with FITC owned by the CBN, the Bankers Committee, and so on. And I've also worked across 5 different sectors. I currently reside in Alberta, Canada, and I'll be sharing some of my wealth of experience with you and how you can also transition and how we've helped over 2,000 people make and cross the same bridge that you would be trying to cross. Now, we've also had a lot of the work we've done over the last few years featured in some of the most reputable publications across the globe, from the Business Day talking about how we've helped Africans across 4 continents to land tech jobs, all the way to PR Fire, one of the largest publications in Europe, publishing and reiterating Analytics' commitment to helping Africans land tech jobs in Europe. So we'll be sharing the slide with you at the end of today's session, and I would love for you to read these articles and get to learn 1 or 2 things on how what we've done across the ecosystem and the impact we are making across the different aspects of tech. Now, I want to find out before we dive into our session, which of these career paths are you interested in? And just type your answer into the chat, okay? Are you interested to become a data analyst or a financial analyst? Type that into the chat and let me get to hear from you. Which of these career paths are you interested in? Being a data analyst or a financial analyst? Type into the chat and let me see. Let's get a feel of the type of people we have in class. Charles says both. That's interesting. Data analyst, data analyst, data analyst. Ebo also says, in fact, both. Absolutely amazing. Of course, Opayemi says cybersecurity. Okay, so we have 2 career paths here today, the data analyst and the financial analyst. And that's what I'll be walking you through. Okay, Adebara also says both. Now, the major question is, how do you transition into these roles? And for us, we always ensure that when we take decisions to offer training programs, we do that from a data-driven perspective. For example, there are so many career paths that will become extinct in the next 5 to 10 years. And I see people making the mistake of still joining those career paths, all right? One of them that would shock you and shock everybody, a career path that will decline in demand in the next 5 years, is product management. Product management. And I have so many people getting into product management. I want to become a product manager and so on and so forth. So how do you decide to take decisions that would ensure that you're relevant in the next 5 to 10 years? And that's the reason why you must do your own research, do some analysis to decide before you decide on the career path to transition into. And that's just what we've done. So what we've done is to gather data, scrape data from LinkedIn, do some analysis to see what specific set of skills do you need to transition into these roles. That's number 1. Number 2, are these roles even in high demand? All right. And these are the 2 critical questions we set out to achieve before offering these programs to people that want to transition. And we're going to look at the very first question. Are these roles in high demand? That's question number 1. So when we set out to do the analysis, we were a bit skeptical about the opportunities, within, because we're looking at just one specific platform, which is LinkedIn. You have so many job boards. You have Indeed, you have read.co.uk, CV Library, Total Jobs, Glassdoor, ZipRecruiter. There's so many of them. But over the last 3 days, what I did simply was to focus only on LinkedIn. Let's get data from LinkedIn and see what the data analyst role and the financial analyst role would look like within the space. And we did a little bit of analysis. Now, looking at the data analyst, the financial analyst role, we saw some things that were very, very important and instructive. Out of 1,000 roles that we looked at, per job role, per data analyst and financial analyst, we saw that you had an average of 250 jobs per 1,000 role. So whenever you see a data analyst role, you'd see a data-related role, data analyst, data scientist, data engineering role. You'd see that the data analyst has at least 250 out of the 1,000 role. And you see that cutting across the 16th of May, the 17th of May, 18th of May, and 19th of May. Today is the 19th. But getting data, when I updated my report, I did a little bit of refresh. Today alone, you have 239 job roles posted on LinkedIn for the data analyst job role. And this shows you very clearly that this is a career path that is very high in demand. So when talking about demand, the demand is there, the jobs are there. And this is looking at LinkedIn alone without the other job boards you have available. And even looking at the financial analyst role as well, scraping 1,000 jobs on LinkedIn, you'd see an average. I think the minimum we have is for today. And of course, today has not ended yet. All right. Sunday is still, it's about 1:12 p.m. my time in Edmonton, Canada. And I'm sure for those in the UK, it's around 8:12 p.m. So the day hasn't ended yet. Possibly you'd have more jobs posted before the day runs out. So when it comes to demand, the demand is there and the demand is very high. So we set to answer this question. Are these roles in high demand? Yes or no? And the answer was very, very clear. Looking at the analysis over the last 3 days, from the 16th of May till date, an average of over 250 jobs posted on a daily basis. So that's question number one. We set out to answer another question, looking at the location and the demand. So looking at the major economies in the UK, the US, Europe, and so on and so forth, where do you have the highest demand of jobs? And I want you to take a guess before I show you. Where do you think you have the highest demand for data analyst and financial analyst? Type it into the chat and let me get to hear what you think. Where do you think? Okay, everybody say the US. Ken says the US. Hawa says the US. I want to hear from more people. Additional says the UK. Elvis, US. Silvanos, Canada. Itodo says, I'll say the UK. All right. Very interesting feedback. Okay, I think the first set of people got the answer correctly. And of course, we also set to look at where you had very high demand. And looking at the data analyst role per 1,000 job, the US had the highest posting per day on the average of 310 jobs, followed very closely by the UK, Canada, and then the rest of Europe. So you have the US having the highest demand for data analysts, both remote roles and remote hybrid roles and in-office roles. You had the US having the highest number of job postings. Now, going to the financial analysts, the US still had the highest of 315, followed by Europe and then the UK. And of course, Canada came in at the bottom, looking at the financial analyst role. But looking at the numbers itself, you had job postings that across different locations where you had so much demand for these specific roles. The US alone having 310 on the average, followed by the UK for data analysts. And it was very clear that, of course, the US, you have so many opportunities, especially remote roles. You want to work from, Nigeria, from Ghana, from the UK, even from Canada, and get jobs working remotely. One of the easiest places you can get remote jobs are in the US. Okay, so there are so many opportunities within the space. But looking at the general locations, you'd see that the demand is still very, very high. And I'll give you a very quick statistics in the UK, most especially. Every year, you have 30,000 data roles, okay? 30,000 data roles, vacant roles to be filled. 30,000 vacant roles to be filled. Now, out of these 30,000, the universities plus the migrant community can only fill 10,000 per year. Now, you have a gap every year. Year on year, you have a gap of 20,000 roles that goes unfilled. And it is alarming that where are all these jobs? How do you have 20,000 jobs every single year that goes unfilled and people are not applying to these jobs? Right? And that's why we always try to advise people and tell people. I lived in the UK for a while, and one of the things you'd see very clearly is you have a lot of the Africans, a lot of the migrants, the people who have gone to the UK for masters and so on and so forth, focusing on career path that has no progression. So they're either working in the warehouses, they're working in different careers that ordinarily they would not want to do. The type of career path where to make more money, you have to do more physical work, and that's not where you want to be. So just imagine 30,000 jobs, data jobs available every year. The migrant community, the universities, the university graduates can only fill 10,000 every year. So there's a gap of 20,000. And currently across Europe, including the UK, you have a major talent shortage. A major talent shortage. Because most of the Africans in diaspora, the focus is on one major sector, which is health and care, and not really on the IT sector, where you have the data analyst, the financial analyst roles. And that's why some of the things we do is to also educate people that there are other career paths beyond health and care. There are other career paths where you can get your skilled worker visa, you can get a COS and get a job and remain in the UK. All right, so looking at the location, we'd see in the UK alone on an average of 295 every day, and for financial analysts, 223. Now we went to the third question to find out what are the in-demand skills? And I think this is the most important aspect of the analysis. What are the in-demand skills? So the common skills across all the job postings. We also tried to find out, okay? And we came up with this from the data sets we had scraped. For the data analyst roles, you'd see that Excel ranks number 1. Looking at the frequency at which these skills were posted in the job descriptions, Excel ranks number 1 for the data analyst, followed by Power BI, then Tableau, and SQL. For the financial analyst, the most in-demand skills were financial modeling, number 1, Power BI, number 2, valuation, number 3, SQL, number 4, and Excel, number 5. Now, why is this very important? And why did I say this is one of the most important insights from the data we had analyzed? If you don't know what the recruiters want, you will likely not get that job. All right. So do you first of all have the skills? And we always tell people, for those in the UK, most of you here are currently resided in the UK, in Canada, in the US, in Nigeria, and so on. Employers, recruiters want only one thing from you, which is your competence. All right. And what is the composition of competence? Competence comprises of 2 major things. Number 1, your skills, and number 2, your experience. Recruiters don't want anything else from you. Your skills and then your experience. So if you don't have the skills, how on earth do you get the job? If you can't show that you have experience, how on earth do you get the job? So it's very important that you understand clearly the skills you need to get a job in a specific career path. And for data analyst, and it's good for you to take a screenshot of this page, all right, or write it down if you have a pen and paper and make a note of it because it's very important. So when you look at the skills that are high in demand for these roles, you don't need to look at one particular mistake people make is you look at a job description today for a data analyst role, it says you need Excel, you need Power BI, you need SQL. Now you go to another job entirely and it says Excel, MongoDB, and Tableau. Now, you get confused because you looked at the first one, you started learning those skills. You looked at the second one, it had a different set of skills to some extent. You start learning the different skills. You go to the next one, you see that it has Excel, Google Analytics, or Google Data Studio, or Looker, and you start to learn Looker. And you find yourself in on a race whereby you are learning everything and you're not getting a job. And we call it learning forever. You don't want to learn from forever. So what you want to do is you look at the entire sample. You take a good sample, 1,000 jobs, and you look for the most common skills employers want per role. So for the data analyst, you have 4 critical skills that you must have to get a job. And the 4 are Excel, Power BI, Tableau, and SQL. And for financial analysts, financial modeling, Power BI, valuation, SQL, and Excel. Now, going to question number 4, what are the responsibilities of the data analyst and the financial analyst? Because once you learn this skill, what would you be doing? What will be your role and responsibility in these organizations? So we also did an analysis. We came up with a word cloud. And of course, for the data analyst role, you'd see a lot of data querying, data interpretation, data integrity, which means the security of the data, ensuring that you've worked with the quality data and you've come up with insights that can be implemented. You'd see analysis, you'd see things like creating dashboards, you'd see things like developing reports, maintaining databases, and so on and so forth. All the skills you'd find cuts across all the different responsibilities that you'd find, cuts across the skills that you will be learning. And now if you move over to the other side, which is the financial analyst role, you'd see financial statements, you see things like budgeting, modeling, financial modeling, reports, forecasting. You see things like what? Valuation, and so on and so forth. So these are the type of things you do in the organization based on what recruiters have put out there as job descriptions for 1,000 roles. Now, understanding this and understanding the skill starts to give you clarity to the type of experience that you need to get. Second to the last question we looked at was the range of salaries across these major economies. And for the data analyst, it was very clear that in the UK, you had a range of 40,000 to 52,000 pounds per annum. In Canada, you had about 62,000 to 85,000 Canadian dollars. And in the US, you had about 82 to 94,000 US dollars. So the US seems to pay a lot more than the other regions when it comes to the data analyst role. Going over to the financial analyst, we also found out that the financial analyst would earn slightly higher in the UK with an average salary of about 51 to 65,000 pounds per annum. In Canada, about 68 to 94,000 Canadian dollars. And in the US, you can even get up to the 6-figure mark at 84,000 to 101,000 US dollars on the average in these regions. So the salary, irrespective of the region, irrespective of the job role, the job title, you'd find yourself in a career path with fantastic remuneration a career path that is progressive. You can easily tell how fast and how well you're going to progress. And you also have a career path that would ever remain in demand and relevant. And the final question, which is one major misconception people always have. And we sought to answer this question. And what we found was, are certifications needed to become a data analyst or a financial analyst? Now, what we saw across the entire data was the job description did not mention any specific certifications for either the data analyst or the financial analyst. We've known this before because we do this analysis every single year. Year on year, at the end of the year 2023, we did this. End of year 2022, we did the analysis. And that's why we came up with the mantra in 2024 called competence. And I needed to write this down somewhere. Competence over credentials. Always remember this. Competence over credentials. Your paper certification means nothing, absolutely nothing. Most of you who are doing your master's in the UK, one of the first shocks you'd find is, I'm not learning the skill that will get me the job at the end of my master's. All I'm doing is coursework, research papers, and working on group tasks and so on. But I'm not doing the things, I'm not learning the skill that will get me the job when I'm done. And that's why you'd find employers having very little regard for your paper certification. Nobody cares about your BSc. My BSc was in industrial chemistry, and I have 0 certifications, 0. I got my very first job in the US. That was in 2021. I was working remotely just after COVID. I worked on contract roles, working from Lagos, Nigeria, and I was working for companies in the US. Same with the UK as well. There was no time any recruiter asked, oh, what's your degree? Do you have this certification or that certification? And over 10 years, my career spanned 10 years, and I have never seen the need to get any single certification. And a lot of people fall into this trap. Oh, I want to do this. I heard about this. I heard about that certification. And I tell you, if you want to crack the nut of getting jobs in the tech ecosystem, focus on your skills and experience. And I'm going to do a very quick poll and ask a very simple question. You are you want to hire 2 people or hire 1 person, but you are interviewing 2 people for that role. It's a data analyst role. One of them has a portfolio. The portfolio has the projects that this person has worked on. The portfolio shows the different types of projects, the number of years of experience that they've had working on different projects with Excel, with Power BI, with SQL. That's the first person. The second person only has, once he has a degree in, let's say, computer science, has a certification that sounds very funny, but sounds like something like data analytics. One of them has proof of skills, proof that they've done this over the years. The other person has certifications to show you. Which of these 2 will you hire? Which of these 2 would you consider to hire? All right? Which of these 2 would you consider to hire? One has a portfolio. The portfolio has all the projects, has all the things they've done. You can see what they've done in Excel, Power BI, SQL, while the other person just has certifications to show that, oh, I have this certification here, I have that certification. Who would you consider to hire? Type it into the chat, number 1 or number 2. Charles says proof of performance. iPhone says the one with, okay, so that's Charles, proof of performance. Ken says number 1. Silvano says number 1. Chinomso says number 2. Number 1, number 1, number 1, number 1. Now, I'll tell you for free, all right? And if you attend any interviews, if you've been in any interviews, especially interviews that are, skill-based, the data analyst type of interviews, the tech-related jobs you're trying to get, the type of questions you get is simple. Tell me about a time you have used Excel or Power BI to solve a pressing problem in your previous role. Tell me how you have used Power BI to build an end-to-end solution, an end-to-end business intelligence solution. These are the type of questions you get. Nobody would ask you about anything related to your degree, your certificates, and so on and so forth, because it's highly irrelevant. I want you to come in and implement the skills that you have. And I want you to also show me that you are a superstar because you have experience doing the things you've done before. Always remember this. If you don't take anything away from today's session, it's always competence over credentials every single time. All right. So we also sought out to validate our analysis, which is something we always do. Now we've analyzed data, we've seen that, okay, this is what the data says. Let's validate using external reports. And one of the major reports we love to use is the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report. And I'll take you to the platform very quickly. I've also kept the link for you, just in case you want to go, read about it and see the jobs that will be in demand in the next 5 years. So which jobs are growing and which jobs are declining in demand is good for you to know, because if you know, you're not going to find yourself on a job where in the next 2 years, next 3 years, your job will decline in demand, okay? So the report shows two distinct categories of jobs. The first one at the left-hand side are called the growing jobs, jobs that will grow. And the right-hand side are the jobs that are declining, the declining jobs. Okay, now one of the first things you see, like I mentioned earlier, when I told you that there's a major career path a lot of people are trying to get into today. What is a career path where in the next few years would start to decline in demand, according to reports, analysis, and also from the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs reports. And you'll see that here. I mentioned it earlier, the product manager role. So if you're in a product management role today, and there are so many other roles, but this stuck out to me. It was I found it very shocking because it's a trendy job. People love to talk about it, but then it shocked me. So I said, okay, I would always highlight it whenever I have the opportunity to emphasize the importance of knowing what you're doing when you're pivoting into a new career path. So you don't want to find yourself in roles that will become irrelevant in the next 5 years. Now let's go to the growing jobs. As a data analyst, as a financial analyst, are you going to remain relevant in the next few years? Absolutely. And one of the first 6 jobs that will grow in demand over the next 5 to 10 years, you'd see the data analyst as one of them. The data analyst, the data scientist. These roles would always remain relevant. And people would ask, I've always been hearing about data analyst roles. Why are the roles growing in demand? Is there a reason why? Yes, the reason is very simple. And this is the reason. 90% of the data we generated, 90% of the data generated has only been generated in the last 5 years. So 90% of the data we have in this world that exists today was only generated in the last 5 to 6 years. So the question is, who handles the data? Who manages? Who analyzes the data? Who makes sense of the data that organizations, individuals are generating from different sources? The volume and the veracity keeps on increasing, at a very high rate. And these are the reasons why employers want people that can come in and help them analyze these data. Okay, so I've kept the link, like I mentioned, the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report. You can access the link. It's a PDF document. You read it, and you have very clear insights on where the jobs would be in the coming months, the coming years, and so on and so forth. Very, very important. So we use this to validate the analysis that we did. That, okay, we can see data analysts, data science as one of the roles that will grow in demand. Now, we also try to see, can you find financial analysts? Absolutely. You'd see them there as well as one of the roles that will grow in demand. Again, I would love for you to download the report. All you need to do is click on the link. All right, it takes you to the reports. It's a PDF document, like I said, and the snippets I took and pasted on my slide is on page 30. So if you go to page 30, you'll see the new and lost jobs. All right, and like I explained, the left-hand side is where you have the jobs that will grow. The right-hand side is where you have the jobs that will decline. And you'll definitely see jobs like the data analyst, the data scientist, and if you scroll a little bit further, you'd find the financial analyst roles as well. Very important. So you're taking decisions about your career from a data-driven perspective, from a strategic point of view. Very, very important. All right. You can just Google. Where can you find the link? Just Google online. It's actually very straightforward. All you have to do is just Google WEF Future of Jobs 2023. You can put PDF. Okay. WEF Future of Jobs Reports 2023. You find it there. Click on it. You get to the reports. What we do is to always look at this report whenever it comes out, because the World Economic Forum have always been very, very accurate when it comes to predicting where the future of jobs would be. All right. So now everybody wants to get into these roles, and it always seems impossible. I've been a banker, I've worked in logistics, I've done customer service. People would have this, different comments. So how do I become a data analyst? How do I become a financial analyst? How do I move from customer service to data analytics? How do I move from a particular career path to another career path? So it always seems impossible until it is done. Okay, and I'll show you some success stories of some amazing people just like you who started their journey, and today they've been able to transition across the globe. And of course, I'll start with the UK counterparts. First of all, you have Tony, Tony joined us. Tony had she came from a pharmaceutical background, nothing related to data, nothing related to tech. She joined our data analytics program. We worked with her. She learned all the skills. And today, Tony works with the NHS as a benefits analyst. We worked with her during her interviews, prepared her, she got the job, and now she has full visa sponsorship with the NHS in the UK. You have Tosin. Tosin works as a fraud analyst after joining the program, learned data analytics, and today he works for a company in the UK, helping them to prevent credit card fraud as a fraud analyst. You have Benga, who is in Poland. Benga joined us for 2 years. Benga had struggled to get a job, but of course, he was very determined. He joined our data analytics program, and Benga has been, I would say, one of the most successful getting a job as a business data analyst. Benga got 4 offers. At the end, when he's, after the job application process and everything, he got 4 different offers. And all he did, we sat down together, we, brainstormed, and, clearly selected the one that benefited him the most. There was one that was 100% remote, but the salary was not as much as the one that was hybrid. So he took a hybrid job where he worked from home sometimes, and sometimes he had to get into the office. You also have Olua Damilare, who joined us in our data analytics program. Today, he got a job as a sustainability data analyst with a company called BAM in the UK. And there's so many other numerous success stories. But I would love you to listen to Tony before I move on to the rest of my slides. Okay, Tony's story is also very interesting, short and straight to the point. And I've kept the links for you to listen to these amazing, amazing professionals. Okay, so I'm just going to play Tony's video, only Tony's video. And when you receive the slides, you can always play the other videos and enjoy yourselves. Okay, so I'm going to click on this link and let's hear what Tony has to say about her experience with us and how she was also able to transition. Right, so I'm just going to
And
I'll just take this right to the beginning. All right. So I want you to ensure that you can hear the audio and then sit back, relax, and let's hear Toyin's story.
Hello everyone, my name is Toyin and I recently got a job as a benefits analyst in the UK. I've come from a medical background as a pharmacist who is interested in, breaking into tech. My first encounter with analytics was on LinkedIn. I joined one of their masterclass, just one masterclass where a femina spoke, and it just took that masterclass to convince me. I joined in August, and a month after, I got a job. To be honest with you, every information skill that I was able to apply to get that job, I owe it to Analytics. Analytics did a great job and is still doing a great job. They groom you and nurture you from the cradle till you become confident. So my advice for you, most importantly, is join. Be integrated into a platform that empowers you and allows you to easily get that first job.
Right, so that's Toyin's story. Toyin, just like so many of you, also started her journey right from the cradle, to use her own words. And today, Toyin is a benefits analyst working with the NHS, helping them to understand and make sense of the data that they have. And it also came with full visa sponsorship for Toyin. Damilare, who just started his own job, last month in April. Damilare also joined us, got his job as a sustainability data analyst, and currently is doing an amazing job with the company called BAM as well. And one also very important person I want to introduce or also talk a little about his story is Muhyiddin. Why is Muhyiddin's story very interesting? Muhyiddin, first of all, was able to get his job 2 months after completing his data analytics training with us. Secondly, Muhyiddin lives in Ibadan, Nigeria, and works for this company called BBX in the UK. So Muhyiddin lives in Ibadan, Nigeria, and works remotely for the company in the UK. So he's earning in pounds and spending in naira, which is where everybody wants to be. Now, why have I highlighted this? One of the difficult places to get remote jobs from Nigeria is the UK. In the US, there are so many opportunities, right? There are so many opportunities, remote work opportunities, but the UK is a bit tougher to get those remote roles. But one thing you would find is a track record of people getting these jobs in the last few months. So Muhyiddin started his job in February this year. We have another lady called Karima, got a job as a business analyst, also living in Lagos, Nigeria, working for the company in the UK. One thing that has made these professionals stand out is the simple fact that you don't just talk about or learn the technical skill, you need to also have the employability skill. Because questions, employers would want to find out if you fit into their culture. Okay, when you get into the interview, how do you present yourself? How do they tell if, when people say Canadian work experience or UK work experience, people mistake that to mean I should have worked in the UK for me to have UK work experience. No, that's not what it means. What it simply means is, how do you comport yourself? How do you start the small talk before you get into the interview? How do you talk about the weather? How do you talk about small things that will get the conversation going before you move into the serious aspect of the interview? So they want to see that you are confident, you are open, and you can have those type of conversations. Most of the time, that's where the culture aspect comes in. So this gentleman can fit into our culture. And these are the things we teach our participants beyond the technical, beyond the Excel, beyond the Power BI, and so on and so forth. You have Chika. Chika also works as a financial analyst. Akintayo got a job as a CFO in Nigeria. You have Solomon, who moved from an engineering background into financial analytics. And you also have Grace, who is in Canada, who joined the financial analytics program. And she says, in her own words, one of the best decisions she took last year, because she's in Canada, so many people trying to get jobs. And Grace, a financial analyst currently residing in Canada after completing the financial analytics program. And what I've also done is to keep a list of the full testimonials on YouTube. So you can go in there and see the amazing professionals that have done the things that you will be trying to do, because it's very important to see those that have gone ahead of you. All right, we're going to have, a Q&A, because I know you have quite a number of questions that you'd like to ask. Okay, all right. Simeon shared the reports in the link. Thanks for that, Simeon. But you have that in the slides, like I said, at the end of the session when I share that with you. Now, moving into the role of a data analyst. Who is a data analyst and what does a data analyst do? Because without understanding the role of the data analyst, it's difficult for you to anticipate what you need to learn, what you will do on the job when you eventually get the job. A data analyst role is very simple, and your major objective in an organization is to help the organization. So a data analyst helps organization answer questions and solve problems from the data the company generates. Your singular objective is to answer questions and solve problems from the data the company has generated. Now, when you're answering questions and solving problems, you can't just answer those questions and solve problems based on what you think you need to do. No, you must follow two major approach or two major techniques to answering this question. And this is where the role of the data analyst falls into the two major phases of data analytics. The first one is answering the question, what happened? And why did it happen? Every company wants to know what happened. How much did we make last year? How much have we made in the last 5 years? How many customers did we acquire in the last 3 months? Every company wants to know what happened. And that's the role of the data analyst, helping the company to answer this question. What happened and why did it happen? Now, when you're answering the question, what happened, you are performing a type of analytics called descriptive analytics. And when you answer the question, why did it happen? So if we made 5 billion last year, and this year we made Q1 2023, so let's say Q1 2023, you made 5 billion, and Q1 2024, you made 7 billion, far more than last year. That is what happened. You now want to dive a little bit deeper into the data to find out, why did that happen? Why do we have an increase in the amount we've made and the revenue we generated same period last year? And that's the role of the data analyst, answering these two fundamental questions. What happened and why did it happen? So if anybody asks you, what is the role of a data analyst? You simply tell them, the role of the data analyst is helping companies to answer questions and solve problems from the data they have generated. And the two questions the data analyst would need to answer is, number one, what happened in this company? And number two, why did it happen? All right. So I'm going to give you a very quick example. If I showed you this particular data set, I took a screenshot of a data in a CSV format, and I want you to answer this question, and let's see who gets it right. This is the data for a travel company who deployed a survey to their customers to ask the customers where they would like to travel to, when they would like to travel, if they'll be traveling with family or traveling with friends, and so on and so forth. Based on what you can see, tell me, where is the most common destination by all the customers? The common destination by all the customers. And this is just a screenshot of the data, it's not the entire data itself. But I want you to tell me, where do you think the customers would want to go? Just based on the screenshots, which I know, of course, nobody would get it. Nobody would get this particular question. Silvano says Berlin, Berlin, Berlin. Toby says Berlin. Bukola says Berlin. Everybody would say Berlin because that's what you can see. And that's what data would simply do to you. Data is useless until you can analyze that data to make sense of the data. So looking at the data like this, if I gave you the data itself and tell you to look at the entire data and tell me the most common destination, you're likely not going to get it right. And this is where the data analyst comes in. The data analyst then takes these data sets that we're all trying to guess, passes that data through Excel, Power BI, or any other analytic tool, and comes up with a visualization that looks like this, interpreting and visualizing the data. Now, looking at the visual, I want you to answer that same question again. Where is the most preferred destination? Looking at the visual, where is the most preferred destination? Let's see who gets it right now. So everybody that selected Berlin, you can see that Berlin is not the correct answer. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Ken. It's Paris. Bukola says Paris. Simeon, Paris. Absolutely. So, and this is the job of the data analyst. You are taking that data set and you are creating a visualization, doing some analysis and so on. So how is this valuable to the company? The company can look at what the data says and take decisions. So in the past, the company would just assume the manager, the senior manager, or the commercial manager who is responsible for developing and designing travel packages. We'll just assume that, okay, a lot of Nigerians, Ghanaians, and Africans want to travel to Monaco or Seychelles. So let's organize travel packages to Seychelles. How about you ask these customers, you deploy a survey, you ask them questions, and let them provide you with the data, and then you can do an analysis, which is what this company has done. And they can see that people don't want to go to Seychelles. People don't want to go to Berlin. Where do they want to go to? Paris. So when we are creating our travel packages for the following month, or for the following year, or for the following quarter, we can create packages that meets the needs of our customers. And when you do that, what happens? You have a whole buttload of sales and you make a lot of money. And this is how businesses use insights generated from analysis to take decisions. Again, when did the customers say they would like to travel? 1 is for January, 12 is for December. And if you look at these insights, you'd see clearly that most of the customers have selected December as their preferred month of travel. So if I'm going to organize, travel packages to Paris, I'm not going to organize it in January or organize it in February. I'm going to organize it in when? December, because that's when people would love to travel. And this is how companies take decisions. The biggest and the best organizations today take decisions from a data-driven perspective. And that's why the data analyst is a very fundamental role in any organization, because you help the organization take decisions from a point where there is no bias, from a point of truth. All right. So we've looked at what LinkedIn has said as the critical skills that you need to learn. For a data analyst, you need 4. What we have done at Analytics is to take it a step further based on experience, based on expertise, and come up with 8 skills that you will have or you must have to get a job where you go beyond the competition. You're not just doing what the competition has. If LinkedIn has says you need to have 4 key skills to get a job as a data analyst, what if you have more? So you present yourself in the best form possible. You can apply to a whole gamut of more jobs in the data ecosystem. And number 1 is problem solving. This is one of the skills you need to learn, because you need to know when there is a problem. You need to know how to break problems into multiple parts. You need to know how to do a root cause analysis to find out the root cause of a problem. So you're not solving the problem from a point, you're not solving the symptoms, you are rather solving the problem from where it emanated. So you solve that problem, completely. So you learn how to use techniques like the McKinsey-Mason model to break problems into multiple parts that are exclusive. So when you solve those problems in multiple parts, invariably you are solving the entire problem. You learn how to use techniques like the 5 whys to get to the root cause of the problem. You learn how to use the prioritization matrix to prioritize problems based on urgency, importance, and impact, and so on and so forth. And all of these comes under problem solving. If you don't have a good problem solving skill, you'd find it difficult to even know the type of tool to use. Should I use Excel for this particular task? Do I use Power BI? Do I even have the data sets to solve this problem? If I don't have the data, can I generate the data by creating instruments like a survey instrument to generate and gather this data? And that's what you learn from problem solving. Then you learn Excel. Similar to what LinkedIn has also told us, you must understand Excel. Is that number one most versatile tool you get to learn as a data analyst? You learn SQL, structured query language. Why is it important to learn SQL? SQL is a language that helps you interact with databases. Organizations would not store their data in a file, would not store their data in a CSV. They'll store their data in a database. How do you interact with that database? How do you extract your data? How do you analyze your data from the database? And that's where SQL becomes very important for any data professional. Then you move to Power BI. Part of the analysis I did that I showed you from LinkedIn, I used Power BI to do my analysis. I used Power BI and I also made use of Python to do some of the analysis like the word cloud and so on and so forth. So Power BI is very critical and very important for you getting into data analytics. It helps you to also automate your reports. You can have a report that you have to present every week, every month, every quarter. You don't have to do it all the time. You create it once, update your data, and then your data is updated going forward. You learn how to use Tableau as well. Why is Tableau very important? Usually, it's either Tableau or Power BI. But we at Analytics, it is Power BI and Tableau. It's not all. You need to have the two because organizations have a preference for one. It's either an organization would say, if you have Tableau, you are good to go, or if you have Power BI. But we want you to be in a position whereby you have the two. So you're more competitive in the job market. You also need to learn data storytelling. Why is this important? You've done all the analysis you want to do, but how do you now present it to the people that will take decisions? You want to tell that travel company that Paris is the preferred travel destination. How do you tell the story? So that the manager who is responsible or the director who is responsible for approving can give that approval and can see sense into the analysis you've done. And data storytelling is an art in itself of communication and telling stories from the insights you've generated. Now, we took it a step further with these two skills. The next two skills are game changers for you becoming a data analyst today. And what are those two skills? ChatGPT for analytics and Microsoft Fabric for analytics. ChatGPT is a skill that anybody who has that today, you don't need to be the best in the world. All you need to do is have good understanding of all the skills I've mentioned, and you would do the most fantastic job any expert data analyst would do, because ChatGPT is a technical assistant that 10x's whatever you can do. So if you can use Excel today or Power BI, ChatGPT can make you seem 10 times better because you can get recommendations, you can get insights on how to solve and approach problems. All right? We'll show you how to learn how to use ChatGPT, prompt engineering, how to write the correct type of prompts to generate the best type of results. You're not just only going to use ChatGPT for your analytics. You'd also learn how to use ChatGPT to do what? Tailor your CV to job requirements, which is a very important aspect I'll talk about when it comes to employability skills. And finally, you'd learn Microsoft Fabric, Microsoft Fabric is what gives you an edge, because Fabric is a new technology from Microsoft. It's a technology where you have, it's a platform, if I can call it that, where you have so many different analytic materials. For example, I can be in Edmonton, Canada. Somebody can be in Calgary. Someone can be in Australia, different regions. And I create a data warehouse in Microsoft Fabric with some data sets in that data warehouse. The person in Australia can work with that same data in the data warehouse using SQL. Another person entirely in Montreal can do analysis using Power BI. So you have an all-in-one platform in Microsoft Fabric. Why is it important? Organizations are starting to migrate into Microsoft Fabric as an all-in-one platform. So you having the skill today puts you at an advantage over the competition. So rather than the 4 skills, we added 4 more to make it 8 critical skills that you need to get a job as a data analyst. And how long does it take for you to get this? 4 months. 3 months, project-based classes. And what do I mean by project-based classes? So you're not learning by just watching videos and learning Excel, the conventional ways, most people are used to learning. No, you are learning by doing what? Using those tools to solve problems. All right, using those tools to solve problems. So when I learn Excel, I'm using Excel to solve problems. And these case studies you work on, the real life projects you work on, are projects I have worked on in the past few years, different other professionals have worked on in the last few years. So what happens is you are simply working on the same problems that we faced as experts, and you will invariably gain experience working on those type of projects. The difference is the name of the companies, the data has been modified because of data privacy. So you get to work on so many amazing projects like that. Glorious is saying, I'm interested in joining financial analytics. I'm going to talk about that in the next few minutes. All right. Now, once you are done with your 3 months in class, you also have 1 month internship. And the internship starts to give you experience. Remember, we talked about competence, the skills and experience. Skills and experience. Your skills, you're going to learn them here, no doubt about it. The technical skills, you learn them here. I'll show you where you learn the employability skills. However, the experience, you get them from where? Your projects. Experience are gotten from projects and also your internship. And I'll show you practically how you can use that to your advantage to get jobs within the ecosystem. Your live classes are on Saturdays. So it's a flexible, blended learning approach. You don't need to be in class every single day. All right. Your live class is on Saturdays, and it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in Nigeria, you are in the UK, you have a class that fits your time zone, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you're in the US, in Canada, different time zone, your class is from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So irrespective of where you are, you have a class that fits your time zone. On Sundays, you have something we call a self-paced class. You have a watch me do it video, or you have watch me do it videos. And these are bite-sized videos you get to watch to understand certain concepts before you come into the live class the following Saturday with your trainer, your facilitator, to work on projects together. All right. So that's the data analyst. And without the data analyst in an organization, that organization would find it difficult to answer these 2 questions. What happened? Why it happened? If you had an increase in revenue, you want to know, why did you have that increase? So you can double down into the subsequent months or the subsequent quarter and keep on increasing. If you had a decline, you also want to know why, so that you can stop those things, mitigate those factors, and you get yourself back to a performing organization. Okay, so this is the reason why the data analyst is very, very important in any organization. Now let's move to the financial analyst. And I always like to put it like this. The financial analyst is simply a data analyst, all right, that focuses on financial data. Now, the data analyst would work on different types of data, customer data, project data, do research, work, and so many other different types of data. Okay. However, the financial analyst focuses on what? Financial data. So the financial analyst is more specialized and more niched into a specific area, which is financial related. So you have that professional in an organization that helps the organization understand their financial records, understand and help them take decisions based on the financial data that the company has generated. Okay, so that's who the financial analyst is. And as a financial analyst, you are helping the organization answer these questions, identifying areas for cost optimization. So when you take the data on costs, on the revenue, your expenses, you look for areas to optimize costs, advise the company. These areas are where I think we can optimize costs and so on and get the company back to its targets for the year. You look at profitability. You look at different financial metrics, the return on equity, you look at, other different profitability metrics and the overall health of that particular organization with regards to the industry standard. So what are the competitors doing? What's in terms of profitability, are we in line with the competitors within that same space? Those are some of the things, some of the questions the financial analyst would want to answer. You also want to know if we need to make investments, invest in different other businesses or make investments as a company. What are the possible outcomes of these different investments? Providing data-driven recommendation to support these decisions, all right? You also want to know, as a financial analyst, how the company can allocate its financial capital. How can we allocate our capital? How can we evaluate potential investments? Looking at acquisitions, different projects, what are the risks involved? And these are the things you'll be doing as a financial analyst. If we're going to take a decision, or the government decides today there's a cybersecurity levy, there is, we're floating the naira, we are doing this, we are doing that, we're increasing the interest rates. How does this affect the company? So doing your sensitivity and scenario analysis, this is where the financial analyst comes in. What's the impact of economic downturn on the company? What's the impact of regulatory changes? And these are the type of analysis the financial analyst would focus on. So you're not focusing on how many customers or putting the customers into segments, customer segmentation, customer lifetime value, as the data analyst would do. Your focus is on making investment decisions, understanding the financial records of that particular organization. And like I said, you are simply a data analyst who analyzes financial data. We looked at a couple of skills that LinkedIn had highlighted that are common for the financial analyst. Now, what do we offer? What must you have in addition to those skills? Okay, so number one, because you are also a data analyst, you learn problem solving, Power BI, Excel, SQL, structured query language, and these are your data skills. So you'd have the skill as a data analyst, knowing how to manage data, analyze data, using Power BI to visualize, and then you move into the core financial areas, accounting fundamentals. You'd learn different financial analysis, analyzing different financial metrics, profitability metrics, return on equity, ROIs, and so on and so forth. All right, you do a lot of financial ratios in your financial analysis class, and then you move into financial modeling, one of the major responsibilities of the financial analyst. You have a startup, or the company wants to invest in another business, or think of setting up another arm of the business. What's the base case scenario? All right, what's the best case scenario or the worst case scenario? And these are the things the financial analyst would do. So based on the current assumptions, economic factors, you look at different assumptions and build your model to say that this is the base case, this is the worst case, and this is the best case scenario. And these are the things you do in class. You learn valuation, how to value businesses based on different factors, based on the industry, and so on and so forth. Sensitivity and scenario analysis, when there are changes in the economy, there are changes in regulatory changes, and so on and so forth. How does it impact the business? You learn how to do sensitivity analysis, and of course, ChatGPT for analytics as a financial analyst. The timeline is similar, just like the data analyst, 4 months, 3 months in class, and 1 month internship. The timing is also similar. Yeah, in similar locations, similar regions with similar time zones, like the US, like the UK, Nigeria, Ghana, similar time zones in Europe as well. You join a class 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then if you are in the US or in Canada, your class is at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Sundays, you have a self-paced watch me do it class. You can watch your videos at your own convenience. So you have short videos, you watch, you learn the concepts. And on Saturdays, when you have a class with a tutor like myself or a facilitator that will work with you, you work on projects and you start to build your experience. The financial analysts are also very important, professionals in an organization. Without the financial analysts, the companies would find it difficult to know what to do with their financial data. Where do we invest? Are we doing well? What's our profitability, the different profitability metrics? If we're going to invest in a business, what's the cost benefit analysis? Who does all of that? So the financial analyst becomes very, very important in that organization. And make no mistake, the financial analysts and the data analysts would always collaborate to solve problems in an organization. You don't work in isolation. You rather work in synergy. You work together to solve key problems and answer key questions in the organization. Okay, will you be one of the trainers? Absolutely glorious. And I'll show you a class. We'll do that in the next 10-15 minutes, and then I'll start taking your questions. Now, all the programs come with the internship. You get to join an internship because this is where you build your experience, like I said. Okay, now, why is the internship important? Remember the word competence, okay, which is your watchword from today. For joining our Desert Masterclass, your watchword for today is what? Competence. And that's what you want to chase. Wherever you are, whatever career path you're interested in, even if it's not in data, if it's not in data analytics or financial analytics, it's always competence. Your skills and your experience, very important. Now, when you work on projects in class, you work on projects during your internship, you use that to create a portfolio. And I'll show you this in 2 minutes, very quickly. A portfolio, this is Victoria and Abdul Kawi. Victoria is a data analyst. Abdul Kawi is a financial analyst. You must have proof of work and proof of experience. So this is Victoria's portfolio as a data analyst, Victoria Uchemadu. This portfolio hosts all the different projects she's worked on, both in class and during the internship. All right. So one of the first things you'd see is the healthcare hospital analysis. Okay, the deep care hospital emergency room analysis. So if you click on the link, it takes you to one of the projects that she's worked on. Okay, it takes you to one of the projects, and this is a project she completed using Tableau. It's one of the things you do in class, one of the projects you work on and get to solve in class. So she posted this here, and you can see clearly this was built using Tableau. You can see Victoria Uchemadu, ER hospital analysis, and anybody that sees this, I can interact with it. If I want to see just for Q1 and Q2, or just for Q1, I can deselect Q2 and Q3 and Q4, and the dashboard will change. I can select only Q2, and it would also change. It is dynamic and it responds and it is interactive. So anybody who comes here would clearly see that, oh, Uche has very good sound understanding of how to use Tableau. All right. So what Uche has done, of course, the portfolio is always progressive. You keep on updating. She's updated a number of projects. This is a Redux airline analysis. Is one of the capstone projects we're going to work on. This is Express Tech Food Delivery Service using Tableau. Also, one of the projects we work on. We can look at this one as well. If I click on this, it takes us to that particular project. And any recruiter, anybody, any potential employer that sees this would know that Victoria knows how to use Tableau. Let's call her in for an interview. Very, very important, okay? And you want to have this. So you're not explaining to people how good you are, but you rather show them how good you are. Let them give you a case study, analyze that case study, and make a presentation. You have the Nestle product analytics, Zenith electronics analysis using SQL, and so on and so forth, okay? So everybody gets to build a portfolio like this. And the more projects you work on, the more you update that portfolio. All right. So that's what your portfolio should look like with your projects. The link to your portfolio would always be on your CV. So when you submit your CV, you've tailored your CV, it goes through the ATS system and you meet the requirements. All right. You get called, they get to see the projects you've worked on. And if there is any debate on who is better, who should we hire, people can clearly see what you've done before in the past and they invite you for that interview and you eventually get the job. All right. Very, very important for you to have that. That's your proof and show of experience. What separates you? Most of the things we've talked about are the technical skills. And this is where I bring you to the employability skills and the services that we provide to all our participants. Now, once you have very good understanding as a data analyst of Excel, you're the best in Excel, it doesn't mean you get the job. If you are the best and I'm average, and I can perform better than you in an interview, average in Excel will get the job over the best. If you can't communicate, you can't introduce yourself, you can't talk about the projects that you've worked on, you can't sell yourself as the best person for that job. I would rather get the job who is average before you get that job as an expert. All right. So it's very, very important that number one, your CV is in top-notch space. Is in top-notch. Your CV is what? Top-notch. Without a CV, your CV is a paper representation of yourself. So without a CV, a top-notch CV, you can't even get into the room. You can't get noticed. All right. We work with you, show you the best CV format, first of all, show you how to tailor your CV to the job requirements. So gone are the days, the days where you use one CV to apply to 100 jobs or easy apply on LinkedIn or easy apply on reach.co.uk. Those days are gone, all right? You would now do what? Focus on tailoring your CV to job requirements so that you get the best possible outcome, getting called for interviews and so on and so forth. From there, you must match your CV to your LinkedIn. The same person on the CV must be the same person on LinkedIn. So you must create a persona of yourself that fits the profile of that person that's on the CV. So we work with you to help you optimize your LinkedIn profile. For those of you who want to work remotely, get to work on projects, as a freelancer and so on, you get to build an Upwork profile. If you don't have one, we work with you to build one. Or if you have one already, we show you what you need to do to optimize your Upwork profile, and then navigating the job market. How do you take advantage of opportunities within your space, in the UK, Canada, irrespective? How do you take advantage of opportunities within your region? Where should you apply? How should you apply? Practical sessions on this. Job and interview prep. You have an interview, like I said earlier. How do you sell yourself? How do you introduce yourself using the seat approach? If I ask you to tell me about yourself, are you going to tell me my name is Adeza Suleiman? I'm a data analyst. I'm the first child of my family. I'm a Nigerian. Is that what you're going to say? How do you introduce yourself using a structured approach called the SEAT approach, where you first of all talk about your skills, you move on to your experience, you talk about your achievements, and then you move to your type of person. Your type of person or your traits, okay? Type of person or traits. And you want to tailor this to the core values of that organization. So rather than say, my name is Adeza, this and that, I'm an expert in the use of Excel, Power BI, Tableau, and SQL. I have close to a decade years of experience as a data analyst. And while I worked as a data analyst in the energy sector, I built one of the best-in-class databases in my department to ensure that reports was optimized from taking 2 days into taking just 2 hours. I'm a problem solver. I like to be at the forefront of solving problems, and I'm team-oriented, and I like to work together in a team. Okay, so you talk about and introduce yourself in a way that is compelling based on this approach. And these are the things that we show you how to do and we teach you. How do you talk about your experience? If you have something on your CV and they say, hey, Michael, tell me about this project where you said, you used Excel to do this and that. How do you use the STAR approach to answer that question? Where you first of all talk about the situation, okay? You talk about the task that was involved. You talk about the actions that you took. And then you talk about the results you were able to achieve. If you can't carry your audience, the panelists, if you can't carry them along in a structured manner for them to understand exactly what you've done and that you are a superstar, you'd struggle to get that job. And this is where the interview prep comes in. This is where you sell yourself to the panelists, okay? So we work with you, you schedule sessions, we have interviews. You saw Tony, all the amazing people that have gotten jobs. We work with them to help them get those jobs. Once you get the job, you need a reference. Organizations will ask for a reference. Give us a reference, can we reach a reference, and so on. We give you our details, they reach out to us, and we write a compelling, or we fill the form, whatever form they've given to us to fill for you. So 10 Analytics is your #1 job experience. Okay, and I'll show you what that means. Let me show you now. What do I mean by 10 Analytics is your #1 job experience? So for all the people you see that have gotten jobs with us at 10 Analytics, if you go to their LinkedIn, let me just go to LinkedIn and show you very quickly. So you see clearly, practically what I'm talking about. Recruiters want to see that you are somebody who you've done this before. So all our participants are not, you're not a trainee, you're not a learner when you join 10 Analytics. You're a consultant or you're a contractor. Okay, so I'll go to one profile and just show you very quickly as soon as LinkedIn comes up. So let's go to Muhyiddin, for example. All right, let's go to Muhyiddin. Muhyiddin is a gentleman that lives in Ibadan, and Muhyiddin is also the gentleman who currently works for a company remotely in the UK. So you'd see Muhyiddin's profile. And one of the first things you'd see is you both worked at 10 Analytics. All right, you both worked at 10 Analytics. And if you scroll down, you'd see Muhyiddin's experience, okay? And one of his experience is with 10 Analytics on a contract basis for 8 months. Now, why is this very important? It's very important because every recruiter, especially in the major economies, you're in the UK, you're in Canada, you're in Nigeria, they want to see that you have done these things before and you are not doing it for the first time. So if you don't position yourself in a way that they see you as somebody who knows the job, if you position yourself as a trainee, as somebody who has just learned over the last 3 or 4 months, you would never get that job. You would struggle to get a job in the space. And these are the things we bring to bear to ensure that you are able to navigate the space and position yourself effectively to land that role within your respective career path. All right. So let's quickly wrap up with the rest of the employability skills. We've talked about your CV, your LinkedIn, Upwork, navigating the job market, interviews, and reference letters. The next level is where you have your mentorship sessions. Every Thursday evenings, you have a mentorship session. You need mentors, myself, the co-founder, other industry experts, to literally hold your hands, answer the key questions that you have to get you into the space. And of course, on the job support. You've gotten a job, you're not really sure of what to do. You have a particular, of course, you're sure of what to do, but there's a project that you haven't done before. It seems a bit confusing to you, and you need somebody to provide assistance. We are always there for you. And our final level 3 is our promise to you, which is a guaranteed job interview 1 month after completing your training with us. All right? Before I get into the classroom and show you what the classroom looks like, and then we go into the fees, what the fees would look like for the data analyst role and the financial analyst role, I'll walk you through the classroom so you have a feel of some of the things that you do during the program itself. Now, one of the first things after you make payments is you get to join our LMS, okay? And I'll show you that, our learning management system, where this is a data analyst program, for example. So you get to join and watch your Watch Me Do It videos. Your self-paced classes are all here, all right? So you have them broken down into weeks, step by step. So you have your week 1, introduction to Excel, overview, the overview of Excel for data analytics. And like I said, your videos are videos you can watch on your own. They're bite-sized. This is 6 minutes, 16 seconds. So before you even dive into Excel, you need to understand what Excel is all about, the Excel environment, what you're going to learn, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you can see Efemena. Efemena is one of the facilitators that will work with you. Efemena is the co-founder of Analytics. So you see all the important introduction to Excel that you get to watch before you dive into the main meat of Excel itself. So this is what the platform looks like with the LMS. You go to week 2. So as you complete 1 week, you move to the other week. If you move to week 4, for example, you'll see that week 4 is currently locked. You can't watch these videos because you have not joined the last class, the previous class, you haven't completed the previous videos, and so on and so forth. So this is the platform where you get to have all your Watch Me Do It videos, your self-paced classes. Now, going to the live class, you have your live class where you join this classroom, okay, and you start all the way from where? From problem solving. Now, looking at the problem solving class, what makes this amazing is, even if you miss a class, you have the class recording and you can come back and watch the recording. So Glorious, I was asking the other time, Ades, are you going to be one of the facilitators? This was me taking a problem solving class. If I just click on the recording, you have access to go back, watch the class, see what happened, before, and so on and so forth. So this is me taking a problem solving class, all right, where I was working with them. You start from the nitty gritty. What is data? That's the very first thing you're going to learn. What are the types of data? So this is me teaching. Those are started in April, walking them through different aspects of the problem solving framework. Okay, so let me just move this. So we talked about the Chris DM framework and so on and so forth. All right, now once you move from problem solving, you move into your Excel, you have your mentorship sessions. Your mentorship session, this particular session was on salary negotiation and so on and so forth. You move up, all right, you see your drop-in session, and I will explain what the drop-in session quickly means. For some of you who are new to the data ecosystem, you're likely going to have a whole lot of questions. You tried something in class. When you tried it on your own after class, you struggle to get it right, and you need somebody to work with you to help you solve that problem. So drop-in sessions happen every single Wednesdays. It's not a class, it's not a full class, it's just for people who have questions, and you need somebody to look at the problem you have and help you solve those questions, okay? So if you also missed a class on Saturday and you need somebody to bring you up to speed, you join the drop-in session, somebody will work with you, show you what was done in class, bring you up to speed. So before you get into the next class the following weekend, you're already, up to date with what was done in the previous class. All right. You have your body mentorship. The body mentorship is simply bringing in the people that have gotten jobs in the past: Muhyiddin, Karima, Ikmat, Tosin, all the amazing professionals currently working in different regions. We bring them back to also work with you. You can ask people questions. And let me tell you how this worked out. A couple of weeks ago, there was somebody who had an interview with the NHS for a database analyst role. The job title was database analyst. In the NHS, we have over 52 people, 52 alumni from Analytics working in the NHS in the UK. And all we needed to do was reach out to one of them to also work with that gentleman based on understanding the workings of the NHS and so on and so forth. We are currently waiting for the results of his interview to see how well he's performed. All right. So this is the platform, your classroom, where you get to join your CV review sessions and all the other sessions that will build up your employability skills. Okay, you have your mentorship sessions, your Excel capstone project, and I'll show you when we say your projects, your classes are project-based. This is what it means. If you go to this Excel live class 2, where you work with your facilitator, let's look at the case study. And this is you learning how to use Excel. This time around, not just for doing mundane things or watching videos, you use Excel to solve problems. And for this particular case, you have just gotten employed as a data analyst for a company called Horizon Enterprises, and so on and so forth. Your line manager has just informed you about the company's yearly performance evaluation coming up on Monday, and you are meant to work on this data to help solve and answer certain questions. Okay, so these are the type of projects you'd work on and put on your portfolio. All right, so this is just showing you what the classroom looks like. You have the video on how you build your portfolio. So every portfolio you have, Uche's portfolio, all the other amazing portfolio like this, these are the videos you'd watch to get them done. All right, creating a website portfolio and so on and so forth. You have your LinkedIn optimization session, mentorship sessions on the power of personal branding. All right, and these are the things that gives you the employability skills beyond the technical skills. I talked about the seats and the STAR approach. You can see that right here. A very, very important session everybody must attend. But if for any reason you missed the session and you couldn't complete or you couldn't join the session on the seats and STAR approach, you have the session recording, and all you have to do is come in here at your own convenience, watch the recording, and you're good to go. Now let's get back to completing, and let me take your questions before we wrap up today. The next cohort is on the 8th of June, and we have an amazing discount for those who will be deciding to join the program. We have an amazing discount for the first 30 people for the data analyst and the financial analyst roles, the program with us. And all you need to do to be a part of the first 30 people is to secure the discount. We have a 20% discount for those who will be joining. And all you need to do is secure your 20% discount to be a part of the program. So the data analytics program, the financial analytics program are the same amount, but you have an amazing discount of 20% right off the bat for the first 30 people, early bird discount, and take advantage of that, all right? Rather than paying $750, all you have to do is make payments of just $600. So you have $150 discounted right off the bat. And once you take advantage of the discounts, you can also make your payment in 2 installments of $400 and $200 a month after the class commences. Now, if you're making payments in pounds, instead of paying $625, all you have to do is pay £500. And once you take advantage of the discount as well, you can make payments in 2 installments of $350 and then $150 a month after the program commences. So the 350 will be paid to take advantage of the discount before the class commences. So the first 30 people to pay to join this program would take the discounts, and then every other person would have to pay the full amount. Now, if you are paying the full amount, you can only make this payment in one full payment. If you are taking advantage of the discount, you can break your payment into 2 installments, and the second installment comes in a month after the program must have commenced. The class starts on the 8th of June, so by the 8th of July, you get to make the balance payment for the second installment. If you are paying in euros, you only have to pay 580 euros, 400 and 180. If you are paying in Canadian, you only need to pay 900 Canadian dollars, 600 and 300. And if you are paying in Naira, you only need to pay 720,000 instead of 900, and you get to pay in 500 and 220,000 Naira. And I'll show you how to go ahead and make payments for those of you who will be taking advantage of the discount. All you have to do is click on the link. My colleagues will share the link in the chat. You'll also get this at the end of today's session. All you have to do is click on this link, and it takes you to the enrollment center. All right, it takes you to the enrollment center. And just all you have to do is look for how you want to pay. You can pay in 2 major ways: doing a direct transfer or making payments with your credit or debit card. If you are doing a direct transfer, you can do a direct transfer to the pound account, to the dollar account, Canadian, euros, or Naira. All right. And if you want to pay with your credit or debit card, all you have to do is come in here, look for the data analytics program, click on the link, and it takes you into how to pay for data analytics. And all you have to do is secure the first installment to get into the class. And I want to join data analytics, and I'm going to pay in pounds. 350 and 150, those are the 2 installments. All I need to do is come in here, type in 350, click on reserve a seat, enter my full name, Adeza Suleiman. All right, enter your email, desert10analytics.io, click on pay with card, or you can pay with Google Pay if you have Google Pay. Enter your card details, and then you confirm your payments. Once you confirm payments, what happens? You receive an automated email to the email you've provided. The email would also have a link for you to register your details. Okay, so once you do that, you make payments, you get the email, you get your receipts, you fill the form for the link that we provided into your email. And once we receive that, we send you a welcome kit. The welcome kit contains everything that you need for the program: how to download and install Excel, how to download and install Tableau, Power BI, SQL, and so on and so forth. For those of you who will be doing a direct transfer, all you have to do is take a screenshot after making the transfer. Take a screenshot of the payments. All right, come back to this enrollment center and click on upload your receipts. Once you click on upload your receipt, it takes you into this form, and all you have to do, fill the form, and you will get to upload your proof of payments. We confirm the payment, and then you are a part of the program. And if you ever have any questions, all you need to do, still on this platform, you'd see the option that says chat with 10Analytics. If you click on this, it opens up your WhatsApp and you get to chat with somebody. Or you simply just go to our website. You'd have the icon at the down right corner to also chat with any one of us. And you also have our phone number to send us messages or emails if you also have any questions. Inquiries at 10analytics.io. Remember, the discount is only for the first 30 people to get into the program, not for everybody. For the first 30 people that are willing to get their journey started. All right, I'm going to take questions and see. So I'll first of all check the charts. If you want to unmute yourself and speak and ask questions, please feel free. I'll be very, very happy to answer your question, okay? Let me see. Glorious is saying, thank you for your response. I appreciate the way you guided us through the overview. It gives me confidence that I'll be able to learn something valuable. I've spent a lot on training sessions in the past without gaining much, but your calm approach makes me sure you would be an excellent teacher. Absolutely. We've been doing this for the last 4 years, and we've done this for over 2,000 people across different regions, from the UK to Canada to the US to Nigeria, Ghana, so many different regions. All right. Most importantly, like I mentioned earlier, what you want to focus on are two broad areas. And once you address those two broad areas, the third aspect would then be for you to double down on applying to jobs. Okay. And one of the things we do, let me show you that very quickly, Glorious, because this is also very important, is in your classroom. Okay. So let's go to your classroom very quickly. You have your employability resources. Now, your employability resources, you have the job sites, the roles you can apply to, and where to apply to those roles. So we have sessions with you on how to apply to jobs. We don't leave you to figure it out yourself. We also provide you with a CV template that is ideal, the best formatted CV, the best format you need to use based on your specific location. And all you have to do after completing your CV review session is to keep on tweaking these templates to fit the requirements of the job you're applying to. Now you have the link where you get to book your interview preparation session. If you have an interview coming up on Monday or coming up on Tuesday or Wednesday, come in here. You have, 2 links for 2 different professionals. If you don't have the date available, I click on this, for example, it takes me into the Calendly where I can then book my interview. The earliest interview I have here is on the 23rd. What if I have an interview earlier? All you have to do is go back to the platform, click on the second link, and then you will find a time available for you to have your interview prep. You have a job application tracker, which is also a very fundamental aspect of your journey getting into either data analytics or financial analytics. Why is it important? As you apply to jobs, you need to track your job application. And we at the back end also track the jobs you're applying to. So the moment you've applied to 15 jobs and you haven't gotten any interviews, we then work with you to ensure that we are able to revisit and revise your strategy to start to get results. Okay, and we have something we call 90 days of consistency. And this is simply every day in class, when you learn something, you go back and you write about it. And this is how you build your LinkedIn persona. Okay, if I go back on LinkedIn and I search, let me just search and see hashtag 90 days of consistency. Let's see if something comes up. Let's see if something comes up. 90 days of consistency. So what you start to see is people in the program writing about what they've done. Okay, so this is Jane, for example. Jane, she made a post on something. You'd see this gentleman has posted 90 days of consistency, 10 analytics, and all of that, talking about data visualization. What this does for you is it helps with the LinkedIn algorithm when recruiters are looking for jobs and part of the job title has data visualization or something like that. They come across your profile that showcases that you are doing something within that space. Okay, so you see this gentleman, Ikeme Fula Oriaku. If you look at what he's done as well, he built a dashboard talking about the case study. And if you scroll down, you see the dashboard he's built. You'd see his own 90 days of consistency as well. So these are some of the things these are the little pieces that you put together that culminates at the end of the day to you getting that job. Okay, if that makes sense to you, Glorious. I just thought I needed to show you that. I have somebody with a hand up. Shegun, I'll ask you to unmute yourself. Go ahead and let's hear your question, Shegun.
Thank you so much for that session. Looks, I like your approach. Shows that you guys have done a lot of iteration and you've come up with a best of strategies. So I want to find out if you do something like a qualitative analysis in your data analysis training.
Qualitative analysis. So
Qualitative,
absolutely. Qualitative.
yes,
Absolutely. So qualitative is simply where you are working with data that is non-numeric. So
yes,
how do you analyze data like text-related data and the
yes,
rest? You look at
yes,
the problem-solving class I showed earlier, you'd see me
yes.
talking about the types of data, quantitative and qualitative. So as a data analyst, how do you work with qualitative data, most especially using Power BI and SQL? So when you
Okay,
see the word cloud I built when I was showing the responsibilities of the data analyst and financial analyst, this is something you can also do in Power BI using a custom visual. All right.
okay,
So we work with you to also show you how to do that. It's not a separate module on its own.
okay,
To be one of the case studies where you get to analyze data and analyze the reviews of customers for British Airways. So that the project you're going to work on for British Airways, and you also want to analyze the review, the customer review. Usually reviews, if they are non-numeric, you'd find comments. So they're giving you 4 stars or they're giving you 1 to 5. But what are the comments you have there? What's the most commonly used word? The sentiments can get from those reviews. So that's part of the project you're going to work on with respect to qualitative data, if that makes sense, Shegun.
yeah. Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for that. So I think I have a couple of questions in the chat. So I'll do that, take questions for the next 10 minutes. Let me see. Elvis is saying, can I get a compressed study? Nope. Compressed is not, practical, okay, in the sense that you need to dedicate yourself, for the next 4 months. I did a video on Instagram one time, and what I said clearly was, can you dedicate 4 months of your life to changing your career? All right. So for the next 4 months, Saturdays, Sundays, even though you don't have a class on Sunday, you are expected to watch your videos. Some people break their videos Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All right. They break it into the next week. But for the next 4 months, what you're doing is simply what? Immersing yourself in the program, working on projects, ensuring that you have the skills and you are able to also defend the skills. So compressing it into 2 months, except you already have the experience, it's really not practical for you to get that done. What is the full stack data science? The full stack data science is a different program entirely. It's different from the data analyst and the financial analyst role. We call it full stack because most of the data science training you find out there only focuses on Python. But our data science program is not just about Python. You're going to learn Excel for predictive analytics. You'd also learn Tableau for data visualization. You would also learn how to use SQL before you even dive into Python. All right. And when you move into Python, most of the time, a data science program, a typical data science program would focus on one specific area. It could be machine learning, it could be natural language processing, it could be one aspect of data science. But in our program, we work on different aspects in the same program. So it's not tailored to just one specific area, but you're learning the full stack of you becoming a data scientist. So what that does for you, it gives you opportunities to apply to so many other jobs within the same realm. I would like to start in July. Will the discount apply then? Very beautiful question, Hawa. All you need to do, Hawa, is secure your discounts now while it is still available, okay? And you can defer to start in July. So like I was showing you the form, if you make your payment with your credit or debit card, you get this link into your email, the email you've provided automatically, all right? But if you've done a direct payment, all you have to do is take a screenshot, come to the enrollment center, click on, upload your receipts. It takes you into this form, and all you have to do is fill the form. So let me show you what you need to do. You enter your email, click on next, enter your details, the type of payment. So I've done this before, so I'm just going to skip so that we don't take time doing this. You select this, you get your welcome kit, 30th, you move, okay? You go to enter your name, your email, registration email, your gender. You click on next as well. Read the terms and conditions. If you have any questions, you have emails, phone numbers for you to reach us on. Click on next. All right. When did you make payments? You enter the date. You upload the screenshots of the proof of payment. What was the mode of payment? Was it a direct transfer? Was it through main stack? You select that. Click on next. The name on the account. And then again, for some of you, you would have questions, because I've seen people asking the question, oh, full stack, oh, business analysis, they are the same amounts in terms of the course fee. All you need to do after making payments, if you are not sure to take the financial analytics or data analytics, simply select, I need to speak with a professional. And on Tuesdays, we organize clarity sessions for you to listen to your questions. Oh, I've done banking all my life. I want to move into this career path. I'm not sure. Okay. But what you would have done is you'd have secured the discounts, and then you get to speak with me, speak with FMNA, speak with other industry professionals to help you take that decision on the program that you want to join. You click on next, and this is where you can choose. So you don't just need to, you can defer your program to July, you can defer to August or September, okay? So for example, you want to start 6th of July. We have another cohort that will commence on the 6th. Your June might be busy, you might have commitments. You select 6th of July, all right? You fill the form, and we get all the details, and we organize that for you. But you wouldn't pay what the July guys would pay when the discount is off, because you've secured your discount today. Last month, we had a 33% discount, okay? So last month, in the month of, that was April now, we had a 33% discount. This month, we have a 20% discount. Next month, the discount is likely going to be off completely, all right? So you get to, you get a deal, and you get value for registering early and deferring to start July, August, or as the case might be. Enter all your other details, submit the form, and we get your details. I hope I answered that question, Hawa. I'm just coming on board. How much is the course fee? Okay, let me go back to the course fee. So you have the course fees here for those of you just joining, all right? So you'd see the discounted fee right here, and you can make payments in 2 installments, the first installment and second installment. All right. So I think I have 1 or 2 people with their hands up. Michael. So Michael, go ahead. Let's hear from you. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Michael. How are you doing today?
Yeah, very well. Thank you so much for your wonderful lecture and exposure to these fields. Yeah. So along your teaching, you said you showed us some portfolios. I want to ask if there's any way you can to ask how are those portfolios created?
Okay, brilliant. So to create those, you have some set of videos you watch. They are created on GitHub. Okay, I don't know if you've heard of GitHub. GitHub is a platform where you can build.
D12? You said
GitHub.
D12.
Can you say that again?
You said D12.
GitHub. GitHub. Let me show you. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So if we go to the internship, let's go to one of the internships, for example. This is data analytics April internship.
Okay.
Right? One of the first things you'd see is creating your website portfolio. Okay. All you have to do to create that portfolio you saw is to watch these 4 videos. Video number 1, video number 2, video number 3, and video number 4. Once you are done with these videos, you'll have your portfolio up. So the platform that we use is called GitHub, GITHUB, GitHub. All right. So once you've created your portfolio during your internship, you then move into your different tasks. For the data analyst, for example, you have 4 major projects we are going to work on: market segmentation, risk management at Alpha Financial Solutions, customer lifetime value, and operational efficiency at Omega Technologies or Logistics. So if you click on any of this, you'll see the videos. These are proprietary videos you don't find anywhere else. These are experience of people who have been in the space. We curated this case study, and these are the projects that are going to work on. All right, so you watch the overview. This is a project on customer lifetime value. If I could just play this for a second so that you get to hear what the project is all about, and then I'll take more questions. We'll wrap up in 5 minutes, but let me just play this for you to listen. An amazing project.
To retail. We are excited to have you join our team for this pivotal project. Delta Retail is a prominent retail chain offering a diverse array of products including electronics, clothing, home goods, and groceries. Committed to delivering exceptional value and service, we strive to meet and exceed the expectations of our customers. Delta Retail faces a crucial challenge in understanding the long-term value of its customers. Although we possess a wealth of historical transaction data, we lack a systematic approach to analyze this data and calculate the customer lifetime value, CLV.
Okay, so I'm just going to pause because I don't want to bore you with all the videos and all of that. But those are the type of projects, quality, real world projects. Every organization that has a subscription model wants to know the customer lifetime value. All right, you want to do different analysis like customer churn to know how long or how often, how frequent your customers leave. Take Netflix, for example. Netflix wants to know how to keep you on their platform. So how long does it take, or how often do people unsubscribe from Netflix? Once you understand the factors that leads to people unsubscribing, it's easy for you to then find strategies to keep people on the platform for as long as possible. And those are amazing type of projects you're going to be involved in. All right, let me see more questions and see if I can take those questions very quickly. Okay, Glorious is saying, this sounds almost too good to be true. I'm definitely signing up for the course financial analysis. I'm already feeling excited. Absolutely. If all you need to do is go on LinkedIn and you see the amazing journey day by day, people posting about their 90 days of consistency, what they're doing, what they're learning. And also on YouTube, you get to also listen to the amazing feedback and testimonial from people who are already within the program. Let me see more questions. Okay, I think I've answered that already. I've answered this too. Okay. Business analysis, same amount. So if you want to join the business analysis program, all you need to do is pay exactly the same amount for data analytics. And if you want to, questions, you want to meet with me one-on-one, make your payments. When filling the form, select I need to speak with a professional, and would have that conversation on walking you through what to do. All right. Let me take more questions from those with their hands up. I have Emmanuel. Emmanuel, I've asked you to unmute yourself. Please go ahead and ask the question.
Hello.
Hi, Emmanuel. How are you doing today?
I'm calling from Port Harcourt, Nigeria.
Thank you for joining us today. Let's hear your question. How is Port Harcourt today?
Yeah, it's fine. We joined your program and I'm interested to join the network that's coming up from June. I would like someone that I can interact with because I'm going to make payments from my mobile app to the bank account so I can share the payment slip, and also someone that I can interact with, because at least if you can have the form also, my WhatsApp number, this number is on WhatsApp, so I can, when I finish, I can fill the form and they
Yeah.
send a payment slip to the person and everything. So
Yeah.
that's why, and they also, someone has been a guidance, and when I'm interested, I want to make the payment from now till Wednesday.
All right. So that's not a problem, Emmanuel. What you need to do, three things, okay? And let me just point you to them. Number one, just make a note of these numbers. If you can see my screen, Emmanuel, you can see these numbers on my screen. So there's a
Yes.
number for Nigeria there, 09029 850 839. You can send a message anytime on WhatsApp to those numbers and somebody would respond to you. That's number one. Okay. Number two, you can send us an email at enquiries@tenalytics.io. Enquiries@tenalytics.io. So that's number two. Okay. Thirdly, when you click on the link to make payments, once you've made your payments and you come back to this platform, the enrollment center, I think the link has been dropped on the slide. That's on the chart, rather, I beg your pardon. The link is also on my slide. Or all you need to do, once you come here, click on Chat with Tenalytics. Okay, it will take you to a WhatsApp platform and then you get to chat with somebody. That's another option. Another option is to simply go to our website. Okay, so if I go to the website, www.tenalytics.io, it takes you to the website and you have the icon at the down right corner that looks like a WhatsApp sign. Click on that, it opens up WhatsApp, type in your questions right in there. Somebody would respond to you. Okay, so you have different ways of reaching out to us. If you've ever received an email from us, a message from us, you can also get in touch with us through that method. Okay, I don't know if that helps in any way, Emmanuel. All right, Emmanuel says okay. So just take note of the number and you can reach out to any one of our customer success associates to walk you through the process. If you need help in making payments, you have any challenges, somebody would work with you to help you get it resolved. All right, brilliant question, Emmanuel. Okay, Michael is saying, please, when is the discount going to end? Because I'm interested, but we'll make payments at the end. End of the month is very late, Michael. First of all, registration closes the week before the program starts. So program starts on the 8th of June. So by the 30th of May or 31st of May, the discount is, the registration is even closed, not even discounts now, the registration. The discount is for the first 30 people. So what I can also advise you to do, Michael, is go ahead and secure your slots. Okay, so you're paying, it depends on the currency, but let's take, for example, you're paying in Naira. The first installment is 500,000. You can break this into two. You can pay 300 to secure your discount, and then in next week or thereabout, you pay the balance of another 200. All right, without paying the 500 at once. So when you make this, you initiate or you would have activated your discount, if that makes sense to you, Emmanuel. So what I advise you to do is secure the discount so that you don't have to pay the full amount eventually to be a part of the first 30 people. All right, I think I've pretty much taken all the questions we have, both in the chat and for those. Emmanuel says I'm paying 600. Yeah, you can do that, Emmanuel. That's not a problem at all. Go ahead, pay the 600. That's, secures your discount for you. And even you pay parts of the second installment. So all you're balancing is 120 instead of 220. Okay. All right. Brilliant. So I think we're going to call it a day at this point. One last thing I want to share with you before we leave is I want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay. So I want everybody go on YouTube, search for Tenalytics. Okay. Go to search search for Analytics. It takes you to the Analytics page. All right. Click on this logo. Click on subscribe. Okay. Now, what do you get from the platform? From our YouTube page, you get the recording for today's session would be uploaded on YouTube. So you have access to it. You'd also have access to testimonials from amazing professionals that have done the same things that you are trying to do. So you want to hear from them. You want to listen to them. Who has joined financial analytics? Who has joined data analytics? Let me hear from them. Let me hear from the perspective of the learner. Okay, so you have testimonials. All you have to do is click on testimonials. It takes you to all the amazing testimonial. This is Oluwadamilare. You want to listen to him. He's the one that recently just got a job with BAM in the UK as a sustainability data analyst. You want to listen to Oluwadamilare. You also get access to amazing sessions we've had in the past. For example, we had a session, for those of you asking about the full stack data science, we had a session that was on Friday on Python for newbies, performing EDA, exploratory data analysis with pandas. You learn how to use Python for free for the first time. You don't have to make any payment to watch this. Just subscribe to the YouTube channel and you have, real-time information on all the amazing stuff we've done. We also had a session last week where we brought in our alumni that have gotten jobs across different locations. So you see the title, How I Secured a Job After Training with Analytics. You have Karima. Karima got a job for a company in the UK. She lives in Nigeria as well. You want to listen to Karima. You want to listen to all the amazing people that came in during this session. So you have access to numerous content from us when you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay, you can see these amazing people that have joined our program. You get to hear from them as well. Another thing I want you to do is follow us on LinkedIn. Follow me on LinkedIn as well. My name is Adeza Suleiman on LinkedIn. You can connect with me. I'll be very happy to connect with you on LinkedIn. And finally, if you have a friend, you have a brother, you have a family member that you think can benefit from this, share the message with them. So you're not just the only person taking advantage. Your friends, your colleagues also, and you have an accountability partner, learning the program together. And I'll give you this very quick story as I wrap up. Somebody last year recommended somebody to us. She joined a masterclass like this. Sorry, he joined a masterclass like this and recommended his friend, who is a lady. The lady that he recommended went ahead to pay and joined the program. But the guy who recommended did not join. The lady got a job in the UK, and the guy realized that, wow, when I recommended my friend, I should have joined at the same time. So he just joined us this year, and he has started his journey with us. So share the message across, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend ahead of you, a productive week ahead. All right. Ensure you engage with us across all our platforms, and we'll be very, very happy to have you join our program. Have an amazing time, guys. Emmanuel, Hawa, what I said, I've already shared with my colleagues in the office. Absolutely. I would love to work with all of you. Enjoy whatever is left of your weekend and have a productive week ahead. And cheers, everybody.